Hello and welcome back to the Real Music Talks. Today's guest is a band called Read the Room, a punk band from Norwich. How you guys doing?
Hey, not too bad, thank you.
Good, good. So for the people that are listening that have never heard of you before, how would you describe yourselves and what you do as a band?
I think what we're trying to do really is we all have like a shared love of like 2000s pop punk, and we're just trying to, I guess, channel that into something a bit more modern as well.
Definitely.
Nice. I grew up on that sort of stuff, so love that sort of music and that. So tell me, like, how did you kind of form the band? Do you want to tell me a little bit of your sort of story as a timeline, if that makes sense?
Yeah, sure. So myself and Dan were in a cover band previous to being in this band. We really hit it off, but had maybe a different genre interest than the other band members of that cover band. So we decided to form a original band, and we put out a post on joinmyband.com. Gotta love the internet. So we put out a post, and first of all, we had Ellie and Adam join us, and we had a little rehearsal, and that went really, really well. And then a little bit later on, we kept digging because we wanted another guitar player, and that's where we found Alex.
Makes sense. And what was kind of the transition like going from just like playing covers to writing original music? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a big change because I hadn't really written music since I was a teenager. So to kind of learn how that would be, the processes that it would take to start writing original stuff was interesting. It was difficult, but man, it was so worth it. The feeling when you write an original song, I think, is something really special.
Definitely.
And there's like a joy that you share with the audience, I find. I mean, I do both, but I prefer the originals just because there's like you have your own connection to the music, and there's something like amazing about seeing other people have that same connection to a song that you've written. Do you know what I mean? So it just gives you that kind of extra level of depth to what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I try and make my lyrics quite vulnerable. So when people share similar feelings, really getting into it, like you said, it's an amazing feeling.
So maybe individually, do you want to talk me through like how you both got into music, even like before the band, and then also like what your experience has been like in the band today, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I've always loved music, like from being a kid. Always loved music. I grew up around musicians. My granddad was a guitarist. My dad played a couple of instruments. My mum played instruments. I didn't pick it up until I was about 22, when my wife bought me an acoustic guitar, because I'd sort of said to it for ages, oh, I'd love to learn guitar. And then she wasn't expecting me to get quite as obsessed with it as I did. And then some years later, it's come on a little bit. I think especially with this band, I've been in a couple of bands previously, but none of them have really sort of been what I wanted them to be. But within like a couple of rehearsals, I knew straight away, like, these are people that want to do the same sort of things as I do. People I get along with, which is always nice when you're in a band, and that have enough sort of similarities in taste, but then also enough differences as well. Because I've got a pretty broad spectrum of music that I'm into.
Yeah.
Probably some stuff that you wouldn't enjoy. Exactly. And then I think that's one of the things I enjoy the most about being in this band, is that we have so many different things to pull from. Like Dan, he's an amazing musician as well. They all are. But he'll come up with something, and then I'll play through it with him, and then Adam will come up with something, we'll play through it together. So everyone sort of brings their own piece into it. And that's sort of been our writing process for all the songs as well, where everyone brings in a bit of themselves.
And for myself, I am similar to Alex. I've got quite a musical family. My dad's a guitar player and a singer. My mum loves to sing. My auntie plays guitar. So it's always been, growing up, things that wowed me. The feeling that music gives, I'm sure we all feel, but it just felt really, really intense, and I always had the desire to be able to perform. And I used to try doing it solo, and my God, it's hard, it's horrible. It's a different type of thing. So to have a band behind me and have their support and their incredible talent is a blessing. I'm very, very lucky to have them.
Yeah, I think there's in a band you can bounce ideas off each other. And like you touched on as well, like having all those different influences coming together makes something original. You know, it's not just like yourself, you know, expressing who you are as a person. It's like each person expressing their personality within the band and then coming together to form a collective piece of music. It's just something special about that. So what's the band's journey been like? So we talked about you guys individually. Talk me through like what the band has done to date, formation, releases, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So we started off grinding really, really hard on just writing original music and rehearsing and getting it down to the T. We then released our first single a couple of months ago now.
That's September.
That's September. Good memory. And we were overwhelmed at the response we got from that. It's more than we could have hoped for. And then from then on, we then released Same Old Story.
Yep, that was 2 weeks after, I think.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sort of went down like the rapid fire route of like first one, 2 weeks, another one, and then after that was the
whole EP.
Yeah, the whole EP on our first sort of on our first proper gig, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've had gigs here and there. We've had a couple of small events. We've had some more public ones. We've had them pretty much every other week at the moment, and now things calm down for Christmas. We're having a little break, and we'll get back in it in January.
Makes sense. Okay, so a couple of different things though, I guess. What was it like doing that first EP as an experience? You know, how did you write the songs? What was the recording process like? And then in terms of releasing it, what was that like as well?
So yeah, writing the songs. Obviously, I joined up a few months after everything had formed, so there was already some stuff written. So I sort of scrambled to try and catch up and learn all these songs. And then after I sort of learnt those, I came in with an idea, and then I quickly saw that everyone had sort of, especially for this EP, everyone had an idea. Mm-hmm. So Dan wrote something, it's on there. Adam wrote something, it's on there. Ellie, me, and obviously all the lyrics. Yeah. So it's the writing process for me. I really enjoyed it because it's learning how other people play as well. So I think that makes me a better musician because I'm having to sort of learn someone else's techniques and how they do things. And the recording process was great because it was all at Dan's house. Mm-hmm. So there was no sort of pressure to say, oh, you've got 3 hours to get this done. It was, yeah, we'll have to go at these today. If you get it, great. If you don't, that's fine. We'll just come back tomorrow and get it done. I imagine the vocals were a little bit more taxing at times.
Can be quite repetitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really lucky to have Dan. He's worked really, really hard on building his studio.
Yeah.
And we have the privilege of being able to use that. And he's really good at mixing and perfecting the sound. So yeah, he's really helped us out there.
And I think with the releases, so the first single was out on, I said 1st September. For that, we filmed a music video.
Yeah.
It was as low budget as physically possible in that it cost us nothing. We essentially just all got together in Dan's living room, put all of this furniture outside, and then just kind of messed it out in front of camera with various different instruments, and we all had a really good time with it.
It was a great time. I think it was a really good bonding experience for us all because it's quite early days where we'd all been able to actually spend the day together. We had the drinks flowing. We were just having a great time singing the same song over and over and over. But like Alex said, we have some really odd instruments. For some of it, we're actually playing our instruments, and for some of it, we're really, really not. And you have to like keep an eye out for little moments. I see new things every time I watch it because it's so quick that it's like, oh my God, I can't remember. I remember that happening now. It's brilliant. It's a good watch.
It's weird, I guess, because there's so many different like parts that you're recording, and then like finally you have that like one short video, but you don't see like the whole day's worth of recording like different bits of footage here and there and coming together and stuff like that. So I guess you guys know like fully behind the scenes what's going on.
Yeah, for real. And then all the editing as well that Dan had to do. So it takes a long, long, long time, but it's worth it.
And I think like in the age we're at now, we're kind of lucky that we can take our time and record stuff at home. Because even like 10 years ago, it wasn't really a thing. Like when I first started playing music, like you'd have to pay to go in a studio. You know, you couldn't really do it at home even then. And now we just have like it kind of changed the creative process because you can take as long as you want over not only like writing the best part, but also like the actual performance and the take, which obviously just gets the music to another place.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have technology the way it is now.
Oh yeah.
Can't imagine what it used to be like. Well, I can, I was there, but I was writing music back then, so it's fine.
For sure. So we talked a lot about the recording process. What about like you said, you mentioned your first gig there. What was it like doing that? Like, so you put all these songs together in the studio, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we're playing it live in front of an audience. How did that feel?
I mean, it was unbelievably nerve-wracking. We created a little private event for all our friends and family to come. My parents have a lovely outside area, and we just played out on the veranda of the cabin. Yeah, like I said, we invited all our friends and family just to like give us an insight of what it's going to be like, what the response was going to be like, and for me, it was like a dream. It was absolutely incredible. Like it even looked really cool because it was outside and there was really nice lighting. Like there was fairy lights and
Especially
glowy
when the sun
lights.
went down and everything. Yeah, it was like proper picturesque.
Yeah, it was something really, really special. And to have all support of the people that we love around us as well was brilliant. So we did loads. We did a really long set. We did covers and originals. So there were some songs that people absolutely loved and were up dancing to, other ones that they're like taking a moment to listen to because they haven't heard it before. So yeah, there was a really good combination of stuff for all different age groups. And it was fantastic. Nerve-wracking, like I said, but once we get into the flow of things, it was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Good time.
I think there's something to be said for like, especially when you're starting out, still playing covers as well, because it's always very difficult when you're an originals band, no one's heard of you. You go to a venue and everyone's like, what's this song? I don't know it. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no one really knows how to react to what to do. And it can be quite difficult as a player too to be in that environment. Whereas if you play a couple of covers to get everyone going, and at least when you're starting out, do a bit of a mixture, then at least the audience can really get into what you're doing. Because I think when people don't know you, it's kind of quite hard to have that experience.
Yeah, we always try and chuck a cheesy cover in there to get the crowd going.
So you guys obviously like quite you know, new to your sort of career in music almost within this band. What's the plan for the new year and beyond?
I think we want to get out and gig as much as we can, see if we can get into some summer festivals. I think we'd really enjoy that.
I'd love that, yeah.
And then keep writing as well. So obviously we've done the first EP, that's done. We've got the songs in there, we're really proud of that. And now we just want to write more and yeah, just get as much music out there as we can, music that we're genuinely proud of and enjoy playing.
Yeah.
And then play it in front of people.
Yeah.
So
try and build that audience up as well. We've been really lucky to have a couple of radio plays in our local Norfolk BBC introducing, so we'd love to keep that going and hopefully get onto some more radio stations, get our name out there, you know.
Yeah, for sure, that's what it's about. So after you've done that, what would you see yourself doing in like 5-10 years time if we were looking at the long term? So if you was turning this into a career, and obviously we all know how difficult that is, but think big, you know, where would you see yourself then?
Well, I think we would love, like Alex said, to play more festivals. It would be amazing to be able to do this full time and not have to work, just be able to choose what gigs we want rather than looking for gigs. It'd be so nice to be like, we'll do that one, we're not going to do that one. They're nice people, we're going to work with them, we're not working with them. It'd be just so nice to be able to pick and choose, you know, make money from streaming as well. Make some like more official music videos, I think. Start to look a bit more professional. I think we've really got the sound down to a T, but it'd be nice to not just use our mobile phones to film music videos anymore.
Absolutely. And I forgot my question earlier, but it just came back to me. Can you talk me through your songwriting process in terms of how the songs start from like an idea all the way to a finished product?
Yeah, well, like Alex said before, we all have a part to play. So we'll normally have an idea. For example, Alex will think of a riff, sort of the whole song, but in his guitar. So he'll record that for us and then bring it to the table. We'll listen to it, and then Ellie's just so natural on drums. She can just very, very easily come up with a rhythm, and it sounds fantastic. She's also a perfectionist as well, so she'll work at it again and again to make it even better. Again, Dan's a natural. Adam will just find his way to put in some more music, and we'll all sort of put in our input, and then finish the song. And then that's when my writing will come on. I'll find a melody that I like, and then add the lyrics on top. And again, we will bring it to the table, see if it's nice, see if it needs tweaking, if there's anything that we think we could be used to add. But yeah, on each of the songs, it's all an idea that someone else has brought to the table. So someone will sort of write most of it chord or riff wise, and then we'll all adapt it to that.
Interesting. So almost like the music kind of comes first, and then the lyrics and everything, and the melody come like later on. Has that process evolved over time? I guess you guys are still fairly new to working together, but has that really changed at all?
It hasn't. I think it really works for us, because we're still trying to find like our perfect sound. You know, we think we've got a good idea at the moment, but the more we play it, the more we're like, actually that key just really, really works for me. Or I find, oh, that I just found that melody really easy to find because that song just fit really nicely for us. So I think it's something that takes quite a long time to adjust to, but we're definitely getting there. Like I think the last song that we wrote, that's not out yet, is probably like one of the quickest ones that we've done.
Yeah, that didn't take very long at all.
No.
I think Dan had an idea, and then he basically showed it to us. We learned it within a couple of, I think, 1 or 2 rehearsals. We had everything done.
Yes.
And then you came with the lyrics in the next one, and that was it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was quick. It's definitely getting, the more we do it, the easier it gets, I think. Yeah. I mean, especially from like the instrumental side, you learn like the little things that each person does. Like Dan loves an arpeggio. I hate doing them, but I've sort of been forced to get better at them because every time he writes something, there'll be a little arpeggio in there somewhere that I have to try and get under my fingers, which I don't always thank him for, but it definitely serves the song.
That's the magic of working with different people, I guess, as well. Like you all have your own sort of styles, and you inspire like different parts in each other. I mean, for myself, I'm a drummer, but if I hear something on guitar that I want to compliment, it'll make me play something that I wouldn't have thought of without that part being there. So it kind of inspires like different bits of inspiration between like all the other members of the band. So we know that it's a struggle to sort of make it in the music industry these days. How do you sort of balance what you do in music versus your other commitments in your life?
It is kind of hard to find a balance, really. I think things are calm at the moment, but when we were writing for the EP, things were mental. Like for me, it was any spare time that I had, whether it was in the car on the way somewhere, I'd be trying to find a melody. Then when I was at home, I was trying to think of lyrics, and it was really full on because we had deadlines that we wanted to meet because, you know, we're dedicated to this. We really want to put our time and energy into it. And it felt quite hectic at that moment, but also like the reward that you have for doing that and putting so much energy and effort into it it feels amazing. You just feel so productive and like you're doing what you feel like you should be doing, which is, you know, it's really rewarding.
Yeah.
To date, what are the biggest struggles that you've had as a band, and also some of the biggest lessons that you've learned so far?
I don't think we've had many big struggles. I mean, personally, I'm not great at forcing myself to write. Like, if I sit down and try and write something, sorry, if I sit down and try and write something, I can't do it. Something just needs to come to me. But I think as a band, it's all been pretty easy going. I think the hardest thing is just time. It's making sure everyone's got time. So we've got a calendar, everyone sort of books out the time they're available. Unfortunately, we've had to sort of turn down some gigs because of not having enough time to do do them. But I think other than that,
Promoters have rules as well. They don't sometimes like that if you're playing a gig in that area in that month, they don't want you to play another gig that month in the area, which is difficult because we want to do as much as we possibly can. But I think another struggle that we had was before you was looking for a guitar player that we found suitable, and to sort of turn people down that we didn't think were adequate for various different reasons. That was really horrible. It felt really hard to do. You never want to put someone down for whatever reason it may be, but I think the relief when we did find Alex, like, yeah, he's the one, don't let him go, keep him here.
Yeah, that's always very tricky, because you don't want to waste someone's time either. Like, if they're not the right fit, you don't want to drag it on for a year or 2 years and then split up as a band. Worst case scenario, or obviously like fall out or something, you know?
Totally, yeah, we don't want that.
And then what are the biggest lessons that you've learned so far?
Damn, I think is a big one is about listening to each other and about what our needs are and what our desires are. Because if we weren't on a similar page, at least, we're not going to make the achievements that we want to. So I think we're all quite respectful people. I wouldn't say that we have particularly big egos or anyone that's particularly dominant, or you know, we've never had a fallout or an upset or a that was really horrible, why did you say that? You know, it's always been very respectful. We hear each other out. So I think that is the lesson that we've learned, is to just be kind, compassionate, and listen to each other.
Makes sense. And if there was a musician starting out today, or even maybe like a cover band, you know, that are thinking about doing originals, what advice would you give them?
Go for it, really. Like, I've been in a couple of bands that didn't work out, but the time I was in them, I enjoyed that. I learned how to write music. I became a better musician because of it. So even if you're like just sitting in your room thinking, oh, I'd really like to have a go at writing music and like forming a band, just give it a go. Like, especially I think in those early days when there's no expectations or anything, you all of a sudden might just come up with something, and then who knows what can happen from there. And other than that, is just, if it's something you really want to do, commit yourself to it, and don't get discouraged when certain things don't work out. Like, take the losses with the wins as well.
Totally. And I'd probably add to that is try and be as authentic as possible, because you want it to be something that you're proud of, and it's something you're putting out to the world. So yeah, do it because you love it, and do it because you're enjoying it, and don't worry about, you know, things that might not go your way or that you hoped would happen, because you don't know unless you try, and I think you'll feel fulfilled if you do try.
Yeah.
Amazing, love it. So we're nearly out of time today. It's been really great chatting. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave our audience with as we close out?
I'd love to do a shout out to our band, Read the Room. Look us up on Instagram, Read the Room UK. We're on YouTube. Check out our little home music videos, because I think they're great. We had a great time doing them. They're an absolute laugh. Shout out to the rest of the band. Sorry they couldn't be here today, but we appreciate them. And yeah, thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem at all. And we'll put the links to the video and everything in the description below.
Okay, thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Appreciate that. Shout out to Ronnie too, for the doggy.
Shout out to the dog. Nice one. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thanks, Dan.
much. Take care.
Nice one. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time. Take care.